In 3, 2, 1.
Oh, yeah.
Episode 11.
Oh, that was a good one, dude.
Double one, episode 11 coming
For the
at
fans.
you. White Claw Wednesday.
Cheers up. Cheers up. It's all good, man. Oh! Now it's not all good, dude. Disrespect.
I knocked this
Let's try that
drink
again.
super hard. I'm sorry.
We're overzealous here. We're so excited that had to hit the
We're
claws
always
pretty
excited.
hard there.
We're always excited to record. I bumped Ryan's claw a little bit there.
So
He got a little
episode
spillage.
11, just want to say one more time, send us your recommendations. We will definitely talk about whatever topic you want us to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
No filter here, as you heard in the last episode. So
It's true. Yeah, that's true. And episode 11, we decided to kind of focus on a theme a little bit. Try to provide some
relief.
relief and our thoughts on good ways to kill the time if you find yourself in a situation where you don't want to go outside.
People are
of the
scared.
Current quarantine
For a couple of weeks
recommendations.
now, it's been, as people know, we've talked a lot. So
We've been talking about it in the last couple episodes with the coronavirus pandemic and just the overall ideology that it's good right now to stay away from other human contact and kind of keep to yourself and stay inside.
I can't tell you how many times I've heard the phrase "practice social distancing."
I haven't heard that one.
Really?
I haven't heard that one yet.
Well, you haven't read the emails, man.
And apparently I haven't. I haven't read them all the way through.
San Francisco State has definitely said it, but oh god, I hate I hate it, man. Practice social distancing.
And I've been
what? Stop.
Yeah.
Come on. Stop trying to phrase it nicely.
Yeah. I saw a coworker a few days ago out and about outside of work, and I said, "Hey, what's up, man?" And then I was like, "Oh yeah, Doug," because the whole. Yeah, I was like, I gotta remember.
Sorry.
I totally forget.
Did you see the video of it's like this world leader or something, and he's like, "From now on, we will not be shaking hands. Like, I am mandating this."
Yeah.
And then like the next speaker comes on, he like shakes their hand,
Oh.
and then he's like, "Oh wait, sorry."
Yeah, I heard about someone else who was giving a speech about how giving advice on how to avoid the virus, and one of the tips was avoid touching your face. And then as soon as she said that, she licked her finger and turned the page.
Oh God, you gotta be kidding me!
Yeah.
That's like the worst, man. Yeah, so we just want everyone to be safe, and we want to take it away from all the hysteria. And so, yeah, we're gonna try and talk about things that we would do in a situation where we're quarantined.
Yeah.
And by the way, I mean, I'm pretty much quarantined at this point. I work from home, and I go to school from home.
Yeah. Yep.
So, I mean, today I had to literally just go outside and take a run because I wouldn't have gone outside if I didn't,
Yeah,
I didn't
that's
need
true.
to.
That's true. I went outside to make my way over here to record. So
That's true.
that
Well,
was
you
my
took a
outside time.
danger.
Yeah, rode public transportation.
You did. But don't worry, we quarantined the hands coming in.
Yeah, you had the alcohol wipes
On
ready for
deck.
me.
We're ready to go here.
But I've been already doing a lot of.
So what have you been doing?
I've been doing a lot of gaming,
It's always good.
and then I've been watching movies with my roommates. We watched a movie called Wild at Heart the other night, and starring Nicolas Cage and Laura Dern. It was very good. It was a romance drama crime type movie, written and directed by David Lynch.
Romance, drama, crime.
If anybody's familiar with Twin Peaks, David Lynch is the creator of that show, and this was a movie that he wrote.
Is that San Francisco based?
Twin Peaks?
Yeah.
I don't know, but
Because that's the neighborhood.
that's the neighborhood we're in. Yeah.
Well,
true.
I mean, take Glen Park, but the range of mountains or
Yeah,
whatever is.
it's Twin Peaks. Yeah, I don't know if it has to do with that, but yeah. So this movie is pretty much Nicolas Cage and Laura Dern playing young lovers, and just they're on the run pretty much because Laura Dern's character is only 20, and her mom doesn't approve of Nicolas Cage's character, the boyfriend, and yeah, it's a very interesting movie just because of the hijinks they get themselves into, and seeing young Nicolas Cage overact is always fun. Because
When was it made?
It was came out in 1990, I think. Yeah, pretty sure. Let me double check that real quick.
Or something?
But yeah, that's the cool thing about this character that Nicolas Cage is playing is it's a perfect character for him because the character himself is quite over the top and obnoxious and crazy and wild at heart. Let's see, what year is the movie? Yeah, 1990.
Nice. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty young. God, it's crazy. That 1990 was 30 years ago.
Oh my God,
We weren't even born, dude.
I know, dude. What
am I talking about?
That is wild to think about. 30 years.
I can't believe I phrased it that way. Oh, 1990 was 30 years ago. As if I was alive.
Oh, that's so.
Isn't it crazy?
Yeah.
I always think when people are like, I'm like, oh, 2005. I'm like, oh, okay, like 10 years ago. Like just boom,
Yeah, no, you think,
but
yeah. I agree.
No,
I agree.
no.
I used to think the 90s was always 10 years ago. I used to think of the 90s as 10 years ago.
Yep, dude.
And now it's...
Time just flies, man. We've talked about this multiple times.
Yeah, how
time is a bitch.
Yeah.
It does not stop.
No.
It does not give a fuck about you. It does not give a fuck about your mistakes, what you wish you could take back, all the things that you've done in your past. It doesn't care, man. It just keeps moving. No matter how much you want to change it, it just keeps going.
Yeah.
And you can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
You just got it. I mean, how crazy is that? Like, we have the ability to do so much in this world, but time is something that it's just
prevents us.
What is the word? Immalleable? Malleable is when you can change things. So I'm trying to sound smart. I'm stupid.
Put the I in front of it, and it means you can't change things.
Unmalleable, something like that.
Or put the UN in front of it. Yeah. No, I
anti-malleable.
It makes me think of I was mentioning earlier. Remember when we got the movies mixed up? You were starting to talk about Annihilation.
I was talking about Annihilation.
And I was talking about Arrival.
Yep.
Well, Arrival is another recommendation I have for the quarantine
Annihilation,
quarantine time killing.
Too.
Because it's like we're talking about time being a bitch that
yeah,
an unstoppable force.
Yep.
The great thing about the movie Arrival is the big twist of it is the way time is perceived. That's all I'm going to say. But it's very interesting, and when you watch it, you kind of realize you're like, holy shit, like that could be applied to my life in a sense, and that would be. And the idea of it is terrifying. I'm not gonna spoil it just because it's so good, but yeah. So I highly recommend Arrival if you're into the ways time is quite annoying.
And I would even piggyback off that and say Annihilation is something that if you haven't watched,
and also watch Annihilation. Yeah, also watch Annihilation.
It's similar too, and you could even back to back those if you have time.
That would be a good
sesh.
Double feature. It would be, yeah, definitely.
Also, Ex Machina. I know we've talked about it a couple times. Yeah, we talked about that one. Kind of similar. But
that's on Netflix right now.
Is it really?
It is, yeah.
Wow.
It is, yeah. Wow. There's actually some really good stuff on Netflix right now.
They put the other guys on Netflix.
Yeah, the other guys
watch
on
that.
Netflix.
That's always a good one. That's a classic, man.
That movie is really hilarious.
So good.
Yeah.
So good.
Peacock,
you gotta let me fly.
Me and Jacob Martinez, we were gonna see that movie when we were kids when it came out.
What were we, like 12? What was it?
It's 2010 it came out.
Wow.
So yeah, Jacob
was really close.
Jacob and I were 12.
For me, I was 13.
You were 13, yeah. So you were a 7th grader, and I think Jacob and I were in like 6th grade.
This is an R-rated movie, though.
It was PG-13. Is
it really?
Yeah. So we like my mom was like willing to drive us to the theater.
Bad,
like she was willing to drive us to the theater and drop us off to see the other guys. But for some reason, Jacob and I felt like guilty about it.
Why?
I don't like. We felt guilty about like we were like.
That's when you were really good at Tushu, huh?
Yeah, it was when I was still really good at Tushu. And we
should have never met us, dude. Should have never became friends with us.
And both Jacob and I were thinking like, man, I don't know if we're old enough to see like this comedy with Will Ferrell. You know what I mean?
No way.
So we decided to see something else.
Yeah.
And it's one of my bigger regrets because like I remember like coming
Dude,
back to school the next year,
funny.
like the summer. Like I think a movie came out in summer, and then I
Uh-huh.
remember going back to school, like starting in middle school, and then
Mhm.
like everybody was talking about the movie and how funny it was, and I was like,
It
oh.
was one of those comedies of the year kind of things
Yeah,
where like
it was.
you had to see it.
It was so
Like
good.
the other guys was the funny comedy of the year, and kind of like Step Brothers. It's like
Talladega Nights.
yes,
Yeah, it's
we're all
among
naming.
it.
I mean, they're all Will Ferrell movies.
Anchorman. Well, yeah, when we're talking about the greatest Will Ferrell, those are the ones you mentioned.
And oh man, so funny.
Yeah,
Wait.
it's sad that
Talking
it's
about-
sad that Daddy's Home got a sequel before the other guys got a sequel. But then again,
Yeah.
you can't really. The reason why a movie like Daddy's Home gets a sequel is because there's really no passion there to begin with. But with something like the other guys, you had Adam McKay and Will Ferrell. That's the team behind Step Brothers and Anchorman and Talladega Nights and all those hits. So it's like you already have clearly they're not the type of guys to do they don't do sequels. Like the kind of people who do sequels are the kind of people who are in the business for money, and they're not in the business for the joy of creating something that they love.
I see. I see.
Which is why you rarely get comedies. Which is why you rarely get sequels for movies that are just great, because the person who's making the thing, there's never an intention to make it something like, oh, I can turn this into a franchise that'll just become billions of dollars. There's never that. It's like I have a story to tell, and it has a beginning and an end.
Yeah.
So that's why the best movies rarely have sequels, and that's why sequels are rarely as good as the first one.
Very rare.
Yeah.
But that reminds me of or what you're talking about reminds me of a series now that is actually really good, and you wouldn't think it's good.
What is it?
Jumanji.
Oh yeah.
Really good
Yeah.
films, man.
The
second one, not so much.
Robin Williams one. I've still only seen the original
Dude,
one.
okay. I haven't seen the original.
But you've seen the two new ones.
I've seen the two new ones, and honestly, any movies with The Rock and Kevin Hart, I love. I'm a sucker for their type of comedy, but the first Jumanji is actually really good, and it's like it's a family friendly stuff, but it's also really funny, man. There's a lot of good one liners, and the storyline's great too.
Yeah.
I loved it. The second one is not as good, but it's still worth the watch, I think, because they do put a little twist on it, which gives it.
Danny DeVito and Danny Glover's in it too. So
yeah, they put a little twist on it. I wasn't really excited about some of the cast in it, the new cast, but
what about Danny DeVito and Danny Glover?
Yeah, he did good.
The two old guys.
Yeah, they did good. But I mean, they made someone a horse.
Oh.
So that was kind of weird.
Interesting.
And then one of the actors wasn't amazing, but I mean, I don't know, sound like a douchebag, but it wasn't as good as the first one. However, still good. But you have to watch the first one to get the second one for sure.
Did you know that?
I already know. Just fucking.
So did you know that the girl from?
I have no idea.
I mean, did you know that the woman from Jumanji who plays the video game character who's got the long orange hair?
Karen Gillian.
Karen Gillian.
Yeah.
You know that's Nebula from.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
She's bad, dude.
It took me. I didn't realize that's who that actress was. The first few times
I
Nebula
noticed
appeared.
right away.
Oh, you did? Okay, yeah, I didn't realize it because of how much makeup she's under.
I mean,
as Nebula.
It's only the facial structure.
Yeah, that's
How
true.
do they do that? How do they hide all of her hair? I mean, what do they?
Well, they put in a bald cap to start, and then they construct around that. A bald cap.
That's got to be so brutal, dude. Could you imagine just sitting there?
Yeah, you said that. Yeah, I mean,
Or who's the other guy?
Vision.
Him.
Paul Bettany is Vision. Yeah.
No. The big dude in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Or Drax.
Drax.
Yeah. Dave Bautista. Yeah.
Yeah, him. That has got to be brutal, dude.
I mean, it's one of those things where it's not
fun.
Yeah, but I don't like to. This goes back to me saying that when people are like when it comes to making a movie, the actors have the easiest job. This goes back to like I think when we say like that's brutal, like I want to say like that's brutal for the makeup artists because they have to do a makeup job that takes 8 hours. Like, sure, you hear about the actors. They're the ones you hear about complaining because they're the
Mm-hmm.
actors.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, yeah, it was brutal. I had to sit. I had to,
But
I had to get to set at 4
Okay.
a.m. and sit and make
I
up
get what
for
you're
8
saying.
hours.
I get what
But
you're
when
saying.
you see when you see the time lapse of like them getting the makeup from start to finish, all the person's doing is sitting there and just checking their phone.
Yeah, but I would rather be moving around and not being sat still for 8 hours.
I just think it's more brutal on the people doing the makeup job than it is.
I think I would rather do that. No, dude, think about it. Think about sitting in one place.
But think about the
for
amount of
still
skills
for like
it
5
takes
hours.
to do that makeup, though. Are you ready to learn those skills? Would you? Here's what I'm
Okay,
saying, Ryan.
no.
Would you rather get paid?
If I had the
would you rather
choice.
get paid to be Drax or get paid to put the makeup on Drax?
Well,
Come
Drax
on.
is making a lot more money, so I'd rather be him.
This is what I'm saying, right?
I
I'm
get
saying
you.
when we
I get
say
you.
it's brutal, we need to be like, it's brutal for the makeup artists.
I guess
Because often we think, oh, it's brutal, and then we think about the interviews where the actors are like, oh, it sucked having to sit in makeup for 8 hours. But it's like, think about being in like the doctor's office and waiting for 2 hours with your phone. Like, sure, it feels like it sucks, but it doesn't actually. Like, there's so many things that suck so much more than what you're doing right now. You're literally just killing time with a mini computer.
I get you. You've convinced me. I get you.
It's
a real computer, man.
It is. No,
It
yeah,
is a computer.
A miniature.
Some of these phones have like 8 gigabytes of RAM, dude.
Yeah.
That's literally half of my computer.
That literally is my
This
laptop.
phone doesn't, but
No, that is my computer.
no, you probably have. You probably have 8 gigabytes.
16. It's 8 or 16.
No, you definitely don't have 16 on a MacBook.
This is 8. I'm
Yeah.
trying to think if my PC's.
Oh, do you have a Pro or something? Oh, your actual
my
PC.
PC is 8 or 16. It's one of those. I
Probably.
think it's also 8 too, because I built it 5 years ago. If I built it 5 years ago, don't you think it would be 8 gigs of RAM?
I mean,
I think it would be.
it depends how much you spent on it. So, yeah.
600.
Yeah, I don't know, dude.
I feel like-
Dude,
I think it's 8
I'm
gigs of
so
RAM.
bad with hardware. Like, I'm a computer scientist. Like, yeah, like, I got that degree, and
Yeah.
I'm a software engineer. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
You still feel
Bro.
like you're not.
I could not tell you half of the things that I'm probably supposed to know when it comes to hardware because it never interests me, and we just really weren't taught that. But yeah, you'd think that I would know a lot about it, right? But I mean, I probably just know a little bit more than the average person. You know, I'm like an above average person.
You haven't hit any stop signs at work where you're like, I don't know how to do this.
For sure.
You have. You had to figure it out. Like,
Well,
yeah,
what do you
I don't
mean by
I don't-
like a stop sign?
like a stop sign. Like, you're like, I have to do X, but I've never done X before, and this Y problem is making me do X, and I've never done X, so I got to teach myself X right now to continue this problem of Y.
I don't
know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying. I don't know if I've ever had that situation. Like, everything that's been asked of me has been relevant to
what you've learned, and what
I learned. I mean, there are a few things like there's just a few things like newer technologies that I wasn't aware of, or like there's a thing called API testing, which
that sounds kind of important or fancy.
well, it is very important. But basically, it's like I'm gonna try and explain it. It's weird. I know how to test it, but I don't know how to do it. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Basically, like, you create these APIs with your application, and then you have this WSDL file, right? It's just some sort of XML that is posted online. And I know you don't know what I'm talking about, but
no,
XML is just a type of language.
at all.
And you ping it with data. Like, you ping this WSDL file, and then it sends back a response.
Yeah.
And I guess it mimics what is actually what is actually happening in the application as a user is using it. And yeah, I can barely explain it to you, but
you know what you're doing when you're doing it.
But I can test it. Yeah.
So you can do what you need to do. Okay.
I can use it. I can use it. Let me say it that way.
Okay.
I can use it. But I really don't know what's happening. Like, and that's like the only instance where I can think of, like, I don't know what I'm doing. But it's not like a stop sign for me.
Yeah.
If I was asked to make one of those, yeah, I'd be like, I don't know what to do. Like, you're going to have to teach me everything.
So it's like you know what you're doing, but you don't know what it actually means. Is that what you're saying?
Well, it's kind of like the computer thing, right? Like, you don't know how that thing works, right?
No. But I know how to work it.
But you know how to use it.
Well, I know how to use some things about it. I know how to do some things with it. You know, not everything, but some things.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, it's exactly like that, right? Like, this is just, you know, and it's funny because the WSDL is probably, or the API testing is probably a lot less complex than a computer, but yeah, I don't know. I mean,
yeah.
I wouldn't say it's a stop sign, though.
Mm-hmm.
But there are definitely things that these other developers do, these other engineers, that I'm like, I asked them, I'm like, how long does it take you to do that?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how long did it take you to get there? Because, like, it's not even in my field of vision at this point.
Yeah.
You know, like, they're doing things so complex. They're, like, configuring databases and, like, working with different operating systems. I'm just, like, goes way over my head.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, I get you.
It's crazy, man. It's such a fun... God. I don't mean to boast, but I fucking love my job. It's so much fun, dude. Coding is, like... I don't know why you just get into your zones and then... Like, you're just typing away and you're creating something. It's a little bit artistic. Like, I hate to say that, like, it is artistic, but you do have a little bit of a sense in it, or you get that sense of art. Because
Did you ever see yourself coding for art, like video games or something like that?
For sure. Absolutely, for sure. Yeah, I would totally do that. The only thing is the video game industry is supposed to be really terrible for their developers. Like shitty on their developers?
Just
shitty work environment. Like, they get overworked.
That's what I've heard.
Like, the overtime is, like, non-existent, but you're expected to, like, work a shit ton.
Yeah, yeah.
And, yeah, I mean, it's...
And you see that, you see that sort of general vibe. You're talking about, like, the shitty, it's shitty to make video games, like, it's shitty to work in that arena. And I think you kind of see that with how video games come out and the way they're rolled out or the way they're received or how polished they are when they come out. And I think that has a lot to do with just the general vibe and the attitude of the people making the games. Like what are their hours? Are they getting overtime? Like, are they... Dude, are they hating, like, making this game? And I fucking hate it. Are they trying to reach a deadline, or are they trying to make something they care about?
Well,
you know what I mean?
They're definitely... I mean, they're trying to do all of the above, right? Like, they obviously have a passion for video games, and so they're developing the video game. But then they have this unrealistic deadline, right? Like, you think of how complex these video games are. Like, I mean,
True.
It's going to be hard for me to explain, but if you know how much it takes to code something, like, just something small... Right?
Yeah, like a soccer ball, like, rolling across a black screen or something.
Simple.
Yeah.
That takes a long time, dude.
Yeah.
And it's hard. Like, it's hard.
Yeah.
So to see all these video games roll out where they have literally, 30 hours or 40 hours of storyline.
Mm-hmm. And then all this, like, multiplayer and all these other categories and stuff and sections of the game. And
dude, it's overwhelming to think about. And then, I mean, obviously you've got probably a team of, like, I'm guessing like 120 for like a regular game. You get like 120 developers on it. Still.
Yeah, everybody's still working a ton.
And then you think about them, right? Then you think like, oh, like, we're going to release the game. Like, yes, like, finally, right? It's going to be out. And then you have millions of players playing it. That is a crazy amount of, real testing that they're doing, right?
True.
And so all these bugs come in because you can't actually... test all of the possible situations that are going to happen within a game.
Without actually putting it out in the public.
Without actually putting it in public, right? Because the public is just going to create situations that you wouldn't even think about.
You couldn't think of or you couldn't come up with because it's impossible to
they just
completely mimic the reaction of the whole world. In a
exactly.
way.
Yeah. And they just don't have the ability or the bandwidth to do that, right? I mean, you'd have to invest a lot of money. And so... these developers spend so much time creating this game, and then all of a sudden it's release night, and they're probably on call. They're probably on call to fix a bunch of bugs that come in. It's
working.
Like, and it's just this constant thing.
The game came out, but they still clocked in to work on it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like it's a brutal industry.
Yeah.
It's very demanding for the developers, and I honestly don't know how they get paid. Like, if it's much better than I'm getting paid right now. So
yeah.
But yeah, dude, I would love to try it. See how it is.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool to work on something.
I doubt I'll ever go there,
Yeah, it's I don't know. It seems like
it's kind of like a glorified job. Like, oh, we're gonna like you work on video games.
Exactly.
Like Uncle Ryan, that's so cool, And then you're like, you got bags under your eyes and stuff.
Yeah,
and you're
it's
like,
not really.
you know.
Yeah, because if you think about how many things require skill with a computer, you know, like
In terms of coding, or just
just in terms
like
of just
IT, kind of
all the different jobs in the world, like how many have their own like computer system and their own, you know, their own tech team basically.
Yeah.
So there's just so many other places where you can go with that, with the job of computers, because computers are everywhere, and it's
Dude.
It's kind of
sorry
I got
about
really
that.
excited
I
for
wonder
that.
how that sounds.
I got really excited for that point. It's kind of like you know, you don't want to go. It seems like if you want to make movies, the only place to make movies and make money is in America. It seems like it's like Hollywood. You know what I mean? And it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to get there. But then when you have like something like you have a computer technology degree.
Yeah.
But
computer science
degree, you don't want to spend it trying to get into the hardest spot. You know what I mean? It's
well,
like
that's the beauty of the computer science degree.
Yeah, it's like you don't have to do like the Hollywood way, because there's a ton there's 10 other different avenues that are just as wealthy and just as successful, and the benefits are just as good as the Hollywood route. You know what I mean? Which would be video games, like because it's coolest to say, like when you're a coder, to say like, oh yeah, I coded like the new Halo or something.
Or like
I was the guy who was in charge of like,
or like Amazon or Google, like something crazy like that.
Yeah,
but those environments are known to be incredibly stressful. You know, and competitive.
Yeah. And
but like, if you were to ask me,
people.
What's that?
I said, and you work for
evil people,
heartless billionaires.
Well,
I mean, not that you don't. Don't you work for heartless billionaires now too? Anyway,
I mean, technically, if you want to trickle up. But the thing about my job is, so I work for McKesson. For those that don't know, and McKesson is a pharmaceutical distributor. And you know, I'm probably not supposed to say something, but you know, I won't say anything. But you know, there is a serious issue with like opioids and stuff like that.
Opioids are good.
Definitely McKesson wasn't the big problem.
Yeah.
For sure. Like there were other pharmaceutical distributors that really didn't have a cap, I'll say. But obviously that industry gets a bad rep. And I work for them. But the great thing about the application that I work on, it's actually for, you know, oncology practices and stuff like that. So I'm really helping people with cancer and like retina and rheumatology, like terminal illnesses.
Yeah.
And basically the application that I work on is an inventory management system that keeps track of all these super expensive drugs, man. Mm-hmm. I'm talking like $2,000 for like a vial of like, I don't know milliliters, but like 10 milliliters or something. Like it's crazy, you know? So,
and
that's what I do.
That's just someone being an asshole and pricing the drug they came up with because they have the patent on it, them just making it super expensive, right? That's all.
Yeah,
that is, right?
I mean, our whole healthcare industry is pretty shit.
Yeah.
Like, I have coworkers from Nepal, and, you know, our carboplatin, which is a common cancer drug, like, in Nepal, you can get it from, like, their CVS pharmacy. And he's like, it's not even that expensive. Like, it's like $50, you know?
Yeah.
And, like, it's being distributed by McKesson for, like, $2,000. Like, the price difference is, like, insane. And so, like, I don't know really how it works, but it has to do with the insurance companies raising the prices, you know? It's all this, like, inner works of the insurance working with the distributors and the distributors ramping up the prices, and then the insurance just gets the money. Like, it's a broken system, man.
Yeah.
I mean, we can get into universal healthcare if you want, but like, insurance companies shouldn't be making that much money, you know? And the government should be negotiating the drug prices, because right now we have no system where the government has no say in the drug prices. From my knowledge, they have no say. And so we have an issue where these companies and these drug companies are like, okay, well, like, you know, we'll see what we can do. We'll try and keep the price down, but we're a for-profit company, you know? So, yeah. And they still will be if they're negotiating with the government. And obviously the government knows they need to make money, but they can be more reasonable, you know? Like, Yeah, I honestly don't know that much about it, so I probably shouldn't be saying stuff. But it's a situation, and I know universal healthcare is like a taboo subject for people. Like they're either for it or against it, right? Like there's no, I mean, you can break everything down like that, but it's more like polarizing. Mm-hmm. I just think that the system that we have is not. It's not where it's at, and like I work for a company that is part of that system, so. I feel like that gives me a little more rep, you know?
Yeah, I agree. And you're putting your biscuit on the line by talking shit on him.
Well, I'm definitely not talking shit.
No, you're not talking shit.
Because McKesson's going to do really well regardless.
Shouts out McKesson for getting my buddy a job out of college.
Facts. Big facts. And yeah, I fucking love America, as you can see.
Yeah.
Come on. If you don't have you know what you can do to help this quarantine out? You can do some arts and crafts, okay? Mm-hmm. Make yourself, get a white tee, right? And if you don't have a America Fuck Yeah shirt or something that appreciates this country,
America.
You got to make one. Because as much as we are polarized, you got to appreciate what we got here, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the closest thing I have to an American t-shirt is a Captain America t-shirt with, the shield, the Captain America shield in it.
That works. What does this even say? Land of the free, home of the brave?
Land of the free, home of the brave.
Facts. America.
Land of the free, home of the brave. Speaking about America and just like guns and, classic American stuff, Call of Duty released
Warzone.
Modern Warfare has Warzone, which is their new battle royale for the
So is that part of Modern Warfare?
Yes, it is. So if you have Modern Warfare, if you have Modern Warfare, you just update your game and the Warzone mode comes on there. And the other cool thing is the gun progression is...
how many gigabytes is it?
The update was 15 gigs for me on PS4.
Oh, that's not bad, actually.
Pretty.
Wow.
So...
That's pretty good, yeah.
I like it. I like it so far because it's combining the weapon progression that you already had in multiplayer, and it's just carrying that over into Warzone.
So you get the same.
So you have like the
levels.
Same, you have the same custom classes available to use in Warzone. So you can do something that's called a. Well, first of all, you drop it on the map, and there's random guns to pick up. So let's say you pick up a random gun that you happen to also be trying to get the gold camo for in multiplayer.
That camo is already there.
Not that. And that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the kills you get in Warzone will also count towards the camo you're trying to get in multiplayer.
Wow, that's awesome, dude.
And also there's something called
super cool.
There's loadout drops, which will drop randomly throughout the game, and you can also buy them because there's buy stations, and you can buy a loadout drop, or just wait.
How do you get money? You have to pay for it.
You get money from the different crates and just random spots and looting and stuff. Yeah,
got it. So it just kind of pops out.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's cool.
You can either buy a loadout drop or just wait for one to be dropped randomly on the map.
I mean, you're not physically buying it.
No,
right?
you're not. No, it's just it's just fake in-game currency.
It's like you loot something and then a gun pops out and $50 pops out.
So like I jump out of the plane, I land in, let's say, Park. It's like a huge map and there's all these different sections.
Right, of course. It's like Fortnite.
Yeah, I land in Park. And as soon as I land, there's a little fort, and I walk in the fort, and inside the fort there's like a glowing chest. I open the glowing chest, a gun pops out, and like $500 a stack of 500 cash.
Sweet.
So you can get enough to buy a loadout drop, and loadout drops are basically they drop from the sky. You run up to them, and then you get to choose from all the custom loadouts you use in multiplayer.
I get you.
So that's another way it links to your gun. Yeah. So if you have like a really special class,
ACOG, you'll
exactly,
get all your
perks,
your grips.
Yeah, exactly.
Sweet.
Your attachments. Yeah. So it's a fun game mode, and I've gotten a couple first place W's so far in the last couple days. Yeah.
Dude, I got to play with you, man.
Yeah.
I got to move my Xbox over to that monitor over there because I'm not touching that thing right now. It's bad. I mean, I'm in school and work, but
you mean with the are you talking about getting the instant connection with the Ethernetting? Because don't you say your Wi-Fi kind of sucks?
Well, my Wi-Fi does kind of suck, but I can't do that because my Ethernet cable has to be connected to the wall to get to the extender.
Oh,
and there's only one. I guess I could get a splitter though.
You can get a splitter.
Or what is it called? I don't know. My brother would be really pissed off at me right now, but something. Dude, like that. I was
thinking about what if
What?
The one thing I don't want to have fall, like going back to the coronavirus and how everything, how it's stopping things and shutting things down.
Yeah.
I really hope the internet in just like the digital world stays intact. Yeah.
Well, the thing is like you got to think about
if that goes, then I can see things
havoc.
Then I can see some chaos.
I don't think the internet will go down because, I mean, if you don't know, there's these massive there's carbon fiber cables that are literally, I mean, to get your data to like Japan,
yeah,
there's literally a cable under the ocean that takes it there. Did you know that? Did you know that?
Stop, dude. There's not a cable under the ocean.
Bro.
No, I believe you. That's just so
I'm
cool.
not lying, bro.
I'm just like imagining like jumping in the oceon and just like swimming all the way to the bottom.
Yeah.
And then just starting to dig. And then
Who
just
knows?
like finding a cable and just ripping it out.
Just like a shark nibbles on it and everyone's go down.
Yeah, like imagine Aquaman just like going into the ocean, going straight down, digging up, grabbing the cable and just fucking ripping it out. Just swimming out of the water with the giant cable in his hand.
You know, maybe I'm super gullible and like someone told me that and I just have believed it ever since.
Like, there's one cable that's underneath the ocean that wraps the whole planet. that makes all the communication travel,
all the
around,
connections
happen.
I don't know. As I'm saying it out loud, I'm like that.
Wait, so is it not real?
I think it's real, dude.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know if every transmission goes through it, but I'm pretty sure there's cables
you're saying is
under the ocean.
You think the internet is safe?
I think the internet is safe. The thing is that websites might go down because we have to remember that these websites, I mean, going back to what we talked about previously in another podcast where the cloud, right? The cloud. Oh, it's in the cloud. It's fine. No. The cloud is not real, right? The cloud is some data center or some server, right? That is holding all that information, that is hosting that website, right? Mm-hmm. So these are machines, right? So they can work on their own for a while. But if it gets to a point where people are not going to work, people can't get to those data warehouses, right? Those server warehouses. Because they take people, they take database administrators, they take people to take care of them, right? And, I mean, without that maintenance, without that upkeep, I don't know. I mean, maybe websites will go down, but I think that that's a pretty safe thing to say that we're not going to be that affected by it. Like, Amazon and Netflix are not going to go down, you know?
Good.
Unless it's really an apocalypse.
Honestly, if I had to choose between...
I would choose Netflix over Amazon.
Yeah, and then but if I had to...
Amazon has Amazon Prime.
Yeah, I would lose Netflix before I'd lose HBO and Hulu, though, because I really like HBO and Hulu. I'm about HBO and Hulu. I fuck with HBO and Hulu.
Do you really?
I highly recommend, if you don't have HBO or Hulu, choose one, hop on it, get on it. It's just so much good stuff. Oh, there's so much good stuff.
Nice. Did you ever watch Netflix then?
Not as much as I used to.
Well, okay, so for everyone who is impenetrable in terms of like dark content.
Oh yeah, in terms of being able to handle anything.
Yeah. But like this is like really, really dark.
Yeah.
This is it's on
Netflix.
I mean,
don't worry.
I don't know what you're referring to.
Yeah, it's okay. You haven't heard of it. I'll get into it after this.
It is the trials of Gabriel Hernandez. I'm so sorry. I'm forgetting the last name.
Are you talking about Aaron Hernandez? You're talking about the Patriots tight end?
Gabriel Fernandez and Aaron Hernandez is the tight end.
You're talking about the Hernandez tight end.
I'm not talking about him.
Oh, you're not talking about that.
I'm talking about Gabriel Fernandez. God, I hope I'm getting that right. I watched it a couple weeks ago. But
it's on Netflix?
It's on Netflix, yeah. It is
documentary?
It is documentary, yeah. It's a documentary about the trials, obviously, of a 7-year-old who was tortured and beaten to death by his own parents. Well, his mom and then his mom's boyfriend. And it's really tough to watch because, I mean, it doesn't really... I mean, I'm sure they held things back, but they didn't hold a lot back. So you're like...
They gave you the details.
They gave you the details. Okay. They show you, the bruises and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, they walk you through this entire trial, and you get to the outcome, and you don't feel good, but you just feel like it's a weird feeling because you get to the outcome and you're like, is this a happy ending? You know, like where do I go from here? And I mean, I watched it, and then Amanda and we talked about it for like 2 days, dude, because it hits that hard, dude.
Damn.
And it really hits hard. It hits home too because, like, you know, I mean, I'm not going to give anything away because, well, I don't want to, but it's like the mother, you know, and it's like
a lot of it's on her.
Well, I mean, it's on both of them.
But it's more on her because she's the one who's actually related biologically to the boy who's being abused.
And they do a really good job, the documentary does, at going into the lives of the people that actually did this and stuff. And so you do get an idea of like who they were and like how it sort of got to this point.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you see the system do its part and stuff like that. But then it's like, okay, the system is fixing this by, you know, having this trial and stuff. But then, like, how did it fail in the first place? Like, you know, like, where are the child protective services? Where are, like, the people that are interviewing these parents, you know? Like,
yeah.
Because there were signs and stuff like that. And it's really good. And so if...
What's the documentary called? What's it called?
The Trials of
the name you can't
Gabriel Fernandez.
Gabriel Fernandez.
I really hope I'm saying that right. I would really be upset if I'm not.
Yeah, I got you, bro.
Thank you. Yeah. It's really good, people. So if you do find yourself bored, and dude,
you got it right.
Thank you,
Gabriel Hernandez.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Which is it's crazy because there's also the Trials of Aaron Hernandez, which is why I got confused. But I mean, if you want to stray away from the negative coronavirus situation and go to
your thoughts on something else negative.
Exactly.
Depress yourself.
I mean,
with something
it's
else.
a situation where you're like, God, like, I hope this never happens. You know, like, it's so sad and it's so, you know, it hits home for everyone, right? Like, you watch it and you're like, how am I not supposed to like feel what I'm feeling, right?
Uh-huh.
But then it's almost like I'm encouraging you to watch it because, like, I think that it's such a serious situation that everyone should understand that, like, this does happen.
Yeah.
And it will happen in the future.
Yeah.
And it raises a lot of points about the system that we have right now. And it was in LA, so it was talking about the LA system and how it failed and stuff like that. And so it's important. It's important for people to know, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Which is why I'm talking about it. I mean, it's not a great watch in terms of like happiness, but it's a great watch.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
That's all.
Well,
it's
yeah.
A great watch.
I mean, that's the thing about I think is important when it comes to being able to view and appreciate all different types of media and entertainment. Is that you gotta understand that not everything is supposed to make you feel good inside. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And if you can remember that, then it's a lot easier to watch and understand why certain things, you know, come to be, you know. If you have a hard time wrapping your mind around why someone would make something that would, you know, make me feel this way or whatever, make me sad, it's like you got to understand that there's more to explore than just happiness, you know.
Yeah,
in terms of creation, just coming up with you know, different things.
And even more, I mean, the documentary is fantastic, but I mean, we shouldn't, as like a person, you shouldn't censor yourself to like things that will make you sad just because you don't want to be sad, you know? Like, you should realize that those things are real, and you should put yourself in those situations because I mean, you know, you can hear about these things happening and you're like, oh my God, like that's terrible. Like I feel so bad. And then, but it doesn't really hit you, you know, like it doesn't really change you or do anything like that.
Yeah.
But if you watch a documentary series on it and you know, and listen and embrace what they're saying, then it's going to have a lasting effect on you, you know? And I think that's important. And obviously that's the goal of the documentary, right? So
yeah, true.
Yeah, great watch. The Trials of Aaron Hernandez is also good.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend that one as much as I do this one. But, I mean, it was also good. It was interesting to see, and it raises the questions about that CT situation that the NBA or NFL has.
NFL has, yeah. Did you see the Firefest documentary? There were two. There was the one
No.
on Netflix and the one on Hulu.
No.
Fire Festival. You heard about the Fire Festival debauchery, I should say.
No, I haven't.
You didn't hear about Fire Festival? The guy.
Don't know what you're talking about right now.
There was this young businessman who came up with an idea to have a luxurious music festival on an island that he would rent, and the tickets were thousands and thousands of dollars. So only rich people and celebrities were purchasing these tickets, and he got famous celebrities like Kendall Jenner to endorse the festival before it actually happened on social media, so it became a massive popularity thing because people were like, oh my god, a music festival on a private island where I get this fancy like bungalow to stay with catered food and all this is all how it's advertised.
Holy shit.
And it ended up being just as far from that as you could get. Like, he couldn't. Bro, you have to watch it. Like,
holy
okay, so you have Netflix, right? Yeah,
Yes.
Just look up Fire Festival, and
There's two documentaries
there's
on
one on Hulu, one on Netflix.
Two different ones.
And the difference is the Hulu one has interviews with the guy who came up with the idea and fucked it up. The Netflix one doesn't have them. But believe me, Ryan, I only watched the Netflix one. You get just as
It's enough.
it's enough, and it's still hilarious. And by the way, if you want to watch something to where, like, I think I mentioned before that the idea of like, it's sometimes fun to look at a situation and be like, I'm so happy that's not me right now. It is one of the greatest examples.
That's
of
one
that.
of your famous lines.
Yeah, it's a perfect example of that of that idea. That's what the documentary is really, and I highly recommend it because it's just great to see how. What was advertised and what ended up happening, and you actually had people come to this island and realize, like, okay, this isn't what I thought.
I'm definitely watching.
Yeah, no,
it,
you gotta, you'll love it. And there's an iconic moment from the documentary, where there were T-shirts made after the documentary came out. Like, and it was all over the internet. Memes were made, and it was like it was one of those things where it was like, when you see it, the memes were, just having to do with like what like. When you think about something you want, something you really want, like what's the worst thing or the craziest thing you would do to like get that thing? And there's a moment from the Fire Festival documentary where there's a guy, like an older guy who was like one of the mentors who was working with the young guy who came up with the idea. And there was a moment that he was put in where he had to like go and convince a guy to get something to like help the festival.
Oh no.
And he does a talking head where he talks about like recalling being in that moment and how much he wanted it, and the thing he says that he would do is just so hilarious because he's talking to this camera and he's dead ass serious, but what he's saying and like what ridiculous. Is so ridiculous. And he's like, yeah, I was ready to do it. No, like, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about when you watch the documentary.
Yeah, I gotta watch it. I gotta watch it. All right, let's quick fire some stuff.
Some watch recommends.
Quick fire watch, at home stuff.
Okay, you go. Boom.
Well, first of all, I know that a lot of people have like projects in their mind where you're like, oh, like I kind of want to do that, you know, like whether it's like a wood creating thing, like you want to create something,
do something, yeah.
Maybe it's a picture frame,
yeah.
Things that you see, like, you know, you're scrolling through and you're like, oh, like that's cool, like I want to do that. Go do it now, like now's the time. Go to Home Depot, put your masks on, get what you need, come back home, and then do it.
Yeah.
Not that that's quarantining, but do some home projects. Definitely.
Or I got a good recommend.
Go ahead.
Do marathons. Do like whatever your favorite thing is
Star
that
Wars.
you own the box set of or whatever, like marathon, whether it's all 10 seasons of Friends, all 9 seasons of The Office, the whole Star Wars saga,
Game of
Lord
Thrones.
of the Rings, Game of Thrones,
I'm just gonna stop
Harry
at
Potter.
season 5.
There's just so many good things to go from start to finish and binge, and then you got a lot of good new shows. You got HBO has The Outsider, which is good. You have Curb Your Enthusiasm, which is currently airing and is still hilarious as ever. You got, Netflix with all.
I got a reality TV
We've already
one.
mentioned a couple good documentaries from Netflix. What do you got? Reality TV.
Love is Blind. Now, I'm not a reality TV person.
What channel is it on?
It's on Netflix.
Oh, okay. It's a reality TV.
I'm not a reality TV person. In fact, I honestly despise reality TV.
Yeah, I think it's pretty terrible too. But I do like Jersey Shore. I will say shout out Jersey Shore.
Even if you don't like reality TV like me, you will like this show because it is based on this crazy idea.
Yeah.
And you're going to appreciate, like, I was sitting there watching it, waiting for the moments where things just started crashing down for people, you know? Uh-huh. And I was like, God, I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for it. Like, I love this show because I know things are going to go bad, you know? And not that I wanted those people to suffer, but it's funny. Like, it's really funny. And actually, you do get attached to some of the characters and you want them to, like, succeed. And, like, I mean, I'm not going to give away. I'll just give it away. Basically, it's like you meet this person, but you don't see them. So you're talking behind this, like, invisible barrier. And so you're going on dates with them. And you're talking to them through this invisible barrier.
This was a dating show on iCarly. I just want everybody to know.
Wow. And you have to propose to them.
Okay, then minus that part. That part wasn't on the
before you
iCarly
actually
episode.
See them in person.
Okay, yeah.
And so shit goes bad.
Yeah, because it's like, you're like, oh man, this person is everything I want. And then you see him and you're like, oh no.
I mean, it's not much about the looks, but then you're like,
but Ryan, come on, there has to be an episode where it's about the looks.
Well, I don't think they included those people. Like, they started out with like 30 people, and then they kept going with like 6 or 7 couples or something like that.
And it's still entertaining, and they didn't include the people who were like, "Wow, you're ugly."
Yes, but the fact that you know it happened is just as satisfying.
The fact that you know they deleted the footage.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's a pretty good one.
Like the other person comes out, and the one guy or girl, whatever, is like, wow.
They like turn around.
And they're like, I fucked up. and then the producer behind the camera is like, yeah, you fucked up because we're not airing this one now.
Yeah. Imagine all the people probably knew, like, God, this is gonna go so bad.
Yeah, like they're just like, wait, they're like,
because the camera crew's recording everyone.
Yeah,
they know. Yeah, so that's a good watch if you like to,
laugh at
appreciate
real,
everyone else's stupid
pain.
decisions. Yeah. Hey, it was worth a shot though. You know, whatever. What else, man?
Let's see.
What else, dude? Monopoly.
Oh, yeah, Monopoly. Yes, complete a game. Yeah, go through. Try to make it from start to finish.
If no one's
on a
ever
game of
completed
Monopoly.
an entire game of Monopoly,
we completed a game of Monopoly. But you know what's funny about it though?
We've had experience.
Yeah, but not only that, but we got careless at the end. We were getting punchy. We were getting a little out of control. I was just kind of throwing properties around. I was saying, take my money. I'm done. We it's hard to actually play it to the T of like how the rules are supposed to be played and make it through a whole game. That is difficult.
That's a challenge, man.
That's a challenge.
And if you don't have experience with it, then it's going to go on for a long time.
Yes,
because we had experience, so we knew like, okay, we could do this, and it's going to speed the game up.
This is
going
to
speed
speed it up exactly. Yeah.
Challenge yourself to that.
Play some chess, checkers. Those are good too,
dude. If you got chess and checkers, go for it.
Read some books.
Mm-hmm. Book reading, man.
I would say.
Do you have Audible?
I don't have Audible, but
I think I'm gonna get a subscription.
To me, it seems like I wouldn't be surprised if most people who, I'd say 90% of people with their living places, their spaces where they live in.
Yeah,
I feel like the average person has
a bookshelf.
At least one book where they've never read it.
Dude, I have a bookshelf in here.
And there's tons of books you haven't read.
Frank, I maybe have gotten through like half of like 2 of them.
Dude, that's how I think it is with so many people's book collections. They have these bookshelves because it's traditional to have a bookshelf in your house, but then they have all these and they haven't read.
It is, yeah. I even have like the magazine shelf. Isn't that weird?
I will say this,
but I'm saving them for when I get a real house.
Might want to save the books till the internet is gone.
Good point.
Just in case
store your books for later. Pro tip.
Use the time killers that don't require internet. Use those later when the internet dies.
Exactly.
Right now, stream and play as much online video games as you can and go on as much social
video
media
games,
as you
man. Ooh, if you haven't played, if you're into like RPGs and stuff like that, I know you're not.
I am.
You are.
I like RPGs, yeah.
Dude.
I buy Spider-Man. Arkham, those are
That's
RPGs.
True. That definitely is true. 2 games I would recommend if you haven't played them. Skyrim. I mean, I don't know if I'm talking video games, people have played Skyrim.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But if you haven't,
Skyrim's one
or
of those games
even
that's
like if you've played Skyrim, you know how fucking awesome Skyrim is.
It
So
kind of goes in line with the whole
give it another round.
like replaying things.
Get another character.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Go for these games that are installed, don't require online stuff, and have hours of content.
Oh, dude, I might have to replay Skyrim right now. In addition to that, Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, honestly, any Assassin's Creed game, because those talk about a lot of stuff to do.
The amazing, like hands down, my game of the year. I didn't get to play Spider-Man, but my game of the year for 2019 was Assassin's Creed Odyssey. It is
Spider-Man
fantastic.
was actually 2018.
I've never. Was it really?
Yeah.
No way.
Time is flying, right? Spider-Man came out in 2018. Yeah.
Then I think Assassin's Creed came out in 2018.
I think it did
too.
come out in 2018 too.
Anyways, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I've never bought DLCs ever in my entire life. And guess what I bought for Assassin's Creed?
The DLC.
All of them, dude. I bought the fucking season pass. I'm a fucking loser, dude. But the game is like, I've never played a game that was that great, except for Skyrim. All right, dude. Let's call it, man.
Yep.
Let's call it.
We got
Everyone,
all the recommendations we can make. Everybody stay safe out there.
stay safe. Wash your hands. Don't touch your face.
Hands off the face.
Don't take public transportation, or if you do, quarantine your hands.
Quarantine the hand that touches the public stuff.
Quarantine your hands. Don't touch your phone. Other safety tips.
Drink water. Stay hydrated.
Love it. Vitamin up.
Yep.
Cheers up, brother.
Cheers to an end of an
Episode 11.